microphone to you, and who is the microphone? Chris, please, right there in the front row.
Hey, is this your first media day to go footballs or?
No, I came after. So yes.
Yeah. Well, welcome.
Thank you. Chris, go ahead with your question, sir.
Kelvin, does each team have its own personality within your overall culture, and how long does that, take to develop?
I mean, you know the answer, right? Yeah.
Sometimes I don't answer that.
What? Yeah. Well, every team's different. No two teams are alike. I think this time of year, every team is working to form an identity according to those teams. Like I can put a team out there made up of all veterans, and they have a completely different identity. If I put Mercy with them, or Chase with them, or even Milos with them, because it completely changes. Because those other guys have to adjust to the new player. But that's why you practice. That's why you learn from all your early failures and things that doesn't work. You throw out things that do. You kind of store and move on down the road. But we have great kids. I don't take that for granted, because I know the kids that we recruit. I know their backgrounds. I know their fit. And I know their value. One of the reasons kids just choose to come here is we do a great job at creating value with them. For instance, Quentin, I think, averaged 1.9 or 2 rebounds a game. His third year, he averaged almost 6. That's creating value. He went from guarding. We've had guys, not necessarily Quentin, other guys guarding terrible defenders, and then by the time they left here, they were guarding the other team's best player. That's creating value. It's not just scoring. You're pretty shallow if that's the only way you evaluate a player, whether he scores or not. We got a lot of guys don't score, but we win championships with them because they have value in other areas.
Coach, a lot of your starting squad is returning, with the exception of Jamal, who a lot would say was your driving force or leader on the court. From who you've seen so far, has anybody stepped up to be that on-court captain?
So I've lost Damian Dotson, 42nd pick, Jarris Walker, number 8 pick, Marcus Sasser, number 25 pick, Jamal Shedd, number 40, whatever he was. Every year we lose really good players, every year. This time last year, every year there's a narrative that you have that you want to ask, and that's a fair question to ask. But the narrative last year, what was it going to be like going to the Big 12? How will you make your adjustments? Not one time in the summer did I ever think about adjusting to anything in the Big 12. What I was concerned about was replacing 4 starters. We had to replace Jarris Walker. We had to replace Marcus Sasser. We had to replace Tremont Mark. And we had to replace, getting the brain cramp on the 4th one, Reggie Chaney. So I never thought about the Big 12. I was trying to figure out who was going to replace those guys. So now fast forward to this, how will we replace Jamal? Next year it'll be something else. But I haven't thought about replacing Jamal. We don't replace players. We just try to make our team better. We never replaced Jarris. I didn't have a number 8 pick last year. We didn't replace Marcus. Those guys they did what they did to help us win. They all had a role. But Jamal, was Jamal. I was watching him play the other night. I don't even remember who it was against. This time of year, it's kind of what I do. I get on that NBA TV thing and flip over here and watch Jarris. He played 38 minutes last night. had a really good game. Then I flipped over and watched Quentin. He had 20 last night, had a really good game. Flipped over and watched Jamal the night before. He had 14, had a really good game. Watched Marcus. We got a lot of guys in the NBA, and we'll continue to put guys in the NBA. But every year we're going to have to replace a really good player, just like we've done for the last 10 years. And our goal is never that, is to make our team better. We don't. I don't think I ever talked to LJ about here's how you replace Marcus. I'm pretty sure I didn't talk to Emanuel on how to replace Tremont. We just throw him out there and try to make our team better, and away we go.
Joseph in the back.
Kelvin, going from losing 4 to returning 4, does that accelerate or change things in terms of what you have to work on early on, since you have guys that are familiar with the system and what they want to
Well,
do?
it was a game of 4-on-4, it would.
Or is it because the point guard is such an important
It
position?
doesn't matter who the other guy is. It's a new guy. So you have to start from scratch. But if this was a 4-on-4 league, we could start playing January basketball in September. But you can't. When Milos got here, he had no clue about what he was getting into. And I'm not talking about the culture things. I'm talking about just the X's and O's, our defense, our terminology. They have to learn all that. And I've had teams where we have 4 starters back. I'm not sure there's anything that can occur that I haven't seen. But those guys have to be patient. And a lot of what we do this time of year can be monotonous. It's monotonous for me. I know it's monotonous for them. But we're always adding. We're always subtracting. We're always piddling, tinkering. I like to tinker, change things up here and there and see what works. But there are certain things that don't change. But there are certain things that do. I think being able to adapt is probably why I'm still sitting here. I've been able to adapt over the years, and I'll continue to do that.
Chris Gardner in the front.
Coach, just what are your thoughts on the exhibition game, how it came about, and benefiting hurricane relief?
Just a way to get back. Buzz called me. I said yes. Called administration, asked for the date. Yes, the time, yes, done deal. That's how it came about.
Calvin, has NIL changed how you go about recruiting and
Yes.
and
What's with the questions, Chris? Come on, man. Give me a question. You're making a statement, and then you ask me to verify your statement. What's the question?
how has NIL
There you go.
changed
There you
how
go.
you go about recruiting?
NIL has obviously changed your recruiting. So how have you adjusted, right? Okay. It's made us make decisions on who we can and can't take based on our budget. What's the football coach's name at Baylor? Yeah, he said something at Football Media Day I thought was so true. They asked him what was the difference in his recruiting from one year to the next. He said, we got more money. That's how you recruit today. For old-timers, old-school dudes, they cringe when they hear that. But that's part of adjusting and adapting. Sometimes you have to make a decision whether you can sign a kid based on how much money do you have left, and do you want to go and try to get more. But the thing we've always been good at over the years, at wherever we've been, is roster management. I know how to manage my roster, period. So we'll continue to do that.
Hey, Coach,
On off.
what do you want to see from your team, like right now and through the Texas A&M game? Any specific aspects from the team in terms of improvement?
Just growth. Just continue to grow. Just keep establishing your identity. from June until August, that was a phase or a cycle that we go through every year. And then once we get to Labor Day, things start ramping up. The Tuesday after Labor Day, things change. It gets tougher, it gets harder. Every day is a preparation day, mentally, physically. But at the same time, they still have academic responsibilities. They still have student-athlete responsibilities. You call them whatever you want, but they still go to school, and they still have responsibilities in those areas. And we have still kids we have some kids that will not play in the NBA. Actually, most of our kids will not play in the NBA, but they will graduate. So I never lose sight of that. Being a basketball coach is not just coaching a game. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, and for older coaches, I don't think we really care about any of that stuff anymore, but developing these kids so they can leave here and be successful. Part of their storytelling is also part of their growth. I hear some of the stories that they tell about what they went through while they were here, and that's good. But it also signals the things that they've learned. A lot of times, our words will reflect what's important to us and the things we've learned from. So I've been proud of that with all the kids that we've had, being able to maintain relationships with. I had a birthday the other day, and one of the first happy birthdays, and it was just this huge monologue. Was from Devontae Pollard. When you hear from those guys, I mean, Devontae Pollard is as important to me as any of the guys on this year's team. You guys are focused on this team. I've had 10 teams, and they're all important to me because I had the opportunity to coach somebody's son and be able to impact their lives. That's why you should get into coaching, and you should never lose sight of that.
Got time for 2 more questions with Coach. We'll go to Will and then Dan in the back.
You kind of touched on it there a little bit, but the way that NIL is set up, do you think is doing these kids a disservice long-term in becoming men in society and the way you want to evolve them as human beings? And how do you avoid that in your program, if it does?
No, I think there's a lot of misinformation about that, Will. A lot of this financial motivation goes to their parents. Financial literacy has become as much a part of our program as academic advising, because that's our responsibility, is to educate and make sure they understand. Our kids have no idea what a W-2 form is, 1099s. State tax, they don't know whether we have or don't have state tax or federal tax or withholdings tax. You give a number, they think that's the number. They don't realize they live in the United States and they operate under a tax law. So we have to educate. We're always educating them. I don't have any opinions on the long-term ramifications because I don't allow that to infiltrate my program. Our program does not change. When I look at any one of our kids individually, I'm evaluating him on what I've always evaluated him on, nothing else. I don't even think of the other stuff, and that's how I manage it. Is I don't change, and if I don't change, that means they're not changing either.
Last question with Coach. We'll go to Dan on the back left.
Coach, how important are relationships with coaches even outside of basketball, especially here in the area? I know that you and Dusty were close, and I believe that you and Joe got pretty close during his first season with the Stros.
Yeah, I don't know all of them. Ime and I spent time together with the San Antonio Spurs. He was actually a player when I was with the Spurs for about three months or so, ever how long that was, during the playoffs. So I got an up close. I remember MA, you could tell that he was a professional. He was going to do good. And I was just in Napa Valley with the Spurs for 3 days at doing a seminar with them, and Pop just thinks so highly of MA. Yeah, Joe, when we played at Central Florida this year, I think they were in spring training. Where's the Astros spring training city? West Palm Beach. That must not be very far from Orlando. He was supposed to come over to the game against Central. He'd been texting me, and he was coming to the game, and then something came up. He had to go to I think it was an emergency dinner. But yeah, we exchanged ideas. You know, Joe cares. You know, he really cares about his team, his messaging, all that. Same thing with Rob Lanier at Rice. Rob was one of my best friends is Rick Barnes. Rick and I have known each other since we were 19, 20 years old. But Rob was Rick's assistant at Texas for a long time, and when I was at Oklahoma. And so I followed Rob, stayed in touch with him over the years. And so we have a lot of really good guys coaching different sports, and I pull for all of them, except when they play us.
Coach, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, guys.
Emanuel Sharp, and graduate guard LJ Cryer. Same procedures, please. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We want to obviously hear that on the broadcast. So, questions for the student athletes. We'll go to Chris Gardner here in the front. Gentleman in the blue shirt. Go ahead, Chris.
Emanuel, how have you grown as a leader since your time when you first came here to now?
Just learning how to pick up my teammates and just be a louder voice on the court along with all the other guys sitting at this podium. And also learning from Jamal. I tried to, learn a lot of things from him since my freshman year. It's just how to talk to people on the court and how to go about things just in that leadership role. And, just really using those things, especially more this year. With all of us, we all got to be louder as a group. So, yeah.
LJ, Coach was saying that guys like Milos, when they come into the program, that may not know how things operate. Not even talking X's and O's, just the culture and the system. But having been a guy that was in those same shoes, what have you seen from him, and sort of what have you kind of helped him along the way, or advice you've given him?
He's going to be just fine. Like you said, I've been through it last year, so I kind of understand a lot of things that he's going through. But just understanding the standard and how hard you got to play here is probably the biggest thing. And just being able to handle coach's coaching, his coaching style, it's kind of tough for people transferring in. So I kind of just been a person that he could lean on, especially with me and him being roommates, so he could talk to me anytime. about what he's going through. So he's never alone.
Will here in the back, guy.
Kind of that same thing, Juan. Some of the young kids that come in here, do you ever just kind of take them aside and talk to them about Coach and the way he coaches and how to take it and how to evolve in this program?
I would say yes and no. Yes, being, I've been there for a while, so I've been on different teams, and I see how different teams, react to coaches coaching. But sometimes it's just something that you got to go through. I can tell you how certain things is going to be, but sometimes you just got to go through it to, understand the culture and what this program means to Coach Sampson. So for my first year here, I had a lot of guys to lean on. And as a leader on this team, sometimes I just got to lead by example and help them follow me. But it's just something that you got to go through. And once you go through it, you'll understand everything that Coach Sampson says is right.
This can be for either four, but maybe start with JVA. The end of the season last year where you did the run it back campaign, and this program's been known to lose a lot of guys and have to replace them. You guys have 4 starters back. What kind of was did you guys talk internally and say, hey, look, guys like J1 and maybe LJ about wanting to come back and maybe finish what you've started?
Yeah, we did talk about it a little bit, but we all knew, like you said, it was something that we wanted to come back and do because obviously we want to finish this off the right way for our last year. So,
and to add on to that too, we made it to the tournament every year, and we made it to the Final Four, Sweet 16, Elite 8, and we just feel like it's it's one more banner that we need. So, knowing that we had one more year to come back, why not use it and try to, do something special that, no one has ever done. So, and these are great guys too. They get better every day. And this is my last year, and I wanted to go out with a bang with my guys. And, I heard a lot about the transfer portal or what you're going to do after this year. And I already had in my mind made up that I was going to come back for my last one and do it with my guys.
We'll go here in the front row, far left.
Right here. Team question. How would you characterize the team's dynamic this season?
I would just say versatile because, like every year, we're really deep. We got a lot of guys coming off the bench that can come in and make a difference. It's really a threat at every position. We just got a lot of depth this year with, Malik, Mercy, JoJo, Terrence. We just got Ramon. We got a lot of guys that can come in and make a difference, and that's what makes us such a great team. And just how unselfish we are and how much we love playing with each other too. That just ties it all in together.
Juwan, being the elder statesman that you are, you've seen Emanuel since he was a wide-eyed freshman coming in. What's it been like seeing the guy that we see like right now? And as he came in as a freshman, he was always kind of a guy who could score the ball. Have you seen his game grow in that aspect today?
I think that started us with, confidence and having trust in himself and just leaning on the work that he's put in, every day, every night. And we see it every day. So him adding more stuff to his game, it is kind of nothing new to us because we just see all the work that he's put in, and that just, helps us moving forward. So people don't look at him as just a shooter. Look at him as a great perimeter defender that can handle the ball well, rebounder. So just him adding a lot of stuff to his game, really boosts his confidence in himself, and it gives us confidence and Coach Sam's confidence.
We'll go back to Joseph Duarte.
JV and J1, when you look at the front court and the numbers and the talent that you have there, is this probably as deep as since you've been here, J1, or can you do you look at the potential there and kind of makes you smile of what you guys may be capable of?
Yeah, most definitely. And, I can always go back to the previous teams that I've been on. And I feel like, once we're healthy, we're hard to beat and hard to go against. Jay is, I want to say, 6'8" with a 7'5" wingspan. And JoJo is 6'7" with a 7'4" wingspan. I'm 6'7" with a 7'1" wingspan. So just having the length and be able to, move our feet, guard, quicker guards, rebound, block shots. It kind of separates us from a lot of people that's probably, 7 foot or 7'1". So just being able to move 6'7", 6'8", it can take us a long way.
Back here, Chancellor.
For both the guards, obviously Terrence was having a really good year up until he got hurt. What will it be like having him back, and what can he do for this team, a healthy version of him?
I mean, hopefully he'll pick up where he left off. But I mean, not to put those expectations on him. He hasn't played in like 7 months or so, something like that. So we just expect him to come in there and play to our culture at the end of the day. He's tough. He gets in there and gets a lot of offensive rebounds. He can make open shots. So we just want him to do what he can do at the best of his abilities.
Yeah, pretty much more the same thing. He was playing his best basketball before he got hurt, and that was just, a sneak peek of the type of player that he is and how he's going to come back and be that same way. He's a spark for us with his rebounding, his open shot-making ability, and he's just a great guy. He's got a lot of length on the defensive end, and, he's great value on this team.
Jay, are there aspects of your game you worked on this summer to get better?
Really just my offensive side, just to show, because it's stuff I've been working on, just haven't really showcased it a lot. But this year, should see a lot more.
For both Emanuel and LJ, how do you guys feel about the outside shooting of this team from three and some of the other guys besides you two?
I feel pretty confident. JoJo has worked on this game a lot. His 3 balls looking pretty well. Milos is a pretty good shooter. His numbers didn't really reflect that last year, but I remember playing against him his first year, and I thought he was a pretty good shooter, and I see him putting in a lot of reps. And the other guards, too, Chase, Mercy could shoot the ball. Malik's shot is still improving, so I feel like from the outside we should be pretty good.
Time for one more question. We got Chris Baldwin, and then we'll have players next door.
Emmanuel and LJ, the depth on this team, how do you make sure, as the older guys, that you bring these young guys along and make them feel like a part of it and know that you're going to need them?
I feel like that comes a lot with practice and just experience, us being around each other and playing with each other. We get used to each other, and we encourage them every day in practice, and they naturally get acclimated. And then with us, teaching, especially the older guys, just helping teach the younger guys and bringing them along. It comes naturally, and that's what October is for. We practice a lot, and they're long and hard. But we need that as a team, and it helps everybody a lot.
Well, guys, thank you very much for your time. We do appreciate it. You'll go over to that room next door.
That was kind of crazy.